The Awakening. Captain Ilara Voss stared at the anomalous readings on her console, the blue light illuminating her face in the dimly lit command center of Outpost Helios 7. For 3 years, she had commanded this remote station on the edge of human space, maintaining the facade that it was merely a scientific research facility. Like all border outposts, Helios 7's true purpose was surveillance, keeping watch on the neutral zone that separated human territory from the Vraxian Empire. "Lieutenant Park, verify these readings," she ordered, her voice steady despite the tension building in her chest. Park's fingers danced across his holographic display. "Confirmed, Captain. We're detecting unusual gravitational distortions in Sector 9. Consistent with Vraxian cloaking technology." Ilara's expression remained calm, but her mind raced. The Vraxians had maintained an uneasy peace with humanity for nearly 40 years, following the Treaty of Proxima Centauri. Both species had expanded outward, careful to respect the established boundaries. Yet something had changed in recent months: increased Vraxian patrols, communication disruptions, and now this. How many vessels? Park frowned. Hard to tell. The distortions suggest at least 3 large ships, possibly more. "Send a standard hail," Ilara ordered. "Remind them they're approaching the neutral zone buffer." The communications officer, Specialist Rivera, nodded and transmitted the message. The response came back immediately. Silence. "No acknowledgement, Captain," Rivera reported. Ilara rose from her chair and moved to the large viewport that dominated the east wall of the command center. The stars looked peaceful from here, giving no hint of the tension building along the border. She thought of the outpost's 47 crew members, scientists, engineers, and the small security team that maintained the fiction that Helios 7 was merely a research station. Only she and her executive officer knew the truth. Beneath the standard sensors and research equipment lay a sophisticated intelligence-gathering network, and deep within the station's core, heavily shielded against detection, was a quantum entanglement communicator, technology that officially didn't exist. "Captain," Park's voice had risen an octave. "The distortions are moving. Fast. On an intercept course with Helios 7. Ilara spun around. "Time to intercept. 3 minutes, maybe less. Sound general quarters," she ordered. "Activate defense protocols. And contact the other outposts. Warn them." Alarms blared throughout the station as crew members rushed to their emergency stations. On the main screen, tactical displays showed the approaching distortions, now clearly resolved as warships. Not 3, but 7 Vraxian vessels, their sleek hulls briefly visible as they dropped their cloaking fields to power weapons. "Captain," Rivera called out, face pale. "We've lost contact with outposts Artemis and Demeter. Their emergency beacons just activated." Ilara felt ice form in her stomach. 1 outpost going dark could be an equipment failure. 3 outposts meant something far worse. "Shields at maximum," she ordered, "and prepare the quantum transmitter." Park's eyes widened. The quantum transmitter was to be used only in the direst circumstances. Its use would reveal that the outposts possessed technology far beyond what humanity publicly admitted to having. The first impact rocked the station, throwing several crew members to the floor. The lights flickered as emergency systems engaged. "Direct hit to the outer hull," reported the security chief. "Shields down to 60%. Their weapons are more powerful than our intelligence suggested." Another blast shook the station more violently. A console exploded in a shower of sparks, injuring the officer stationed there. "Shields at 30%. Park shouted over the blaring alarms. "Captain, we can't withstand this assault." Ilara made her decision. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the escape pods. Security team, prepare to defend the command center." She moved quickly to her private office adjacent to the bridge, placing her palm on the hidden scanner beneath her desk. A panel slid open, revealing a small device no larger than her hand. The quantum entanglement communicator. As she returned to the command center, another blast tore through the station. The artificial gravity fluctuated, and warning lights flashed across every console. "Hull breach on levels 3 and 4, Park reported grimly. "They're targeting our critical systems with surgical precision." Ilara plugged the quantum communicator into her console. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of Outpost Helios 7. She began, her voice clear and commanding despite the chaos around her. "We are under attack by Vraxian forces. Outposts Artemis and Demeter are also compromised. This is not an isolated incident. This is a coordinated assault on our border." She took a deep breath as another explosion shook the station. "I am officially requesting activation of Protocol Thunderbolt. Authentication code. Voss Echo 79 Prometheus. Transmitting all sensor data now." The device hummed softly as it sent her message instantaneously across light years of space, a technological impossibility according to publicly available science. "Message sent," she confirmed, turning to her remaining crew. "Now we fight." The Vraxian ships surrounded the station, their weapons continuing to pound against the failing shields. Through the viewport, Ilara could see the sleek, predatory lines of the alien vessels, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent blue-black sheen that absorbed rather than reflected the light of the nearby star. "Captain," Rivera called out, "the escape pods are away." Ilara nodded grimly. "Seal the command center. Activate internal defenses." As her crew prepared for the inevitable boarding attempt, Ilara wondered if her message had been received, and if it would make any difference. Deep beneath the surface of Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the cavernous command center of humanity's most closely guarded secret. On the enormous holographic display that dominated the room, a red alert pulsed insistently. Around him, officers and technicians worked with quiet efficiency, their faces illuminated by the blue glow of their screens. "Quantum transmission received," Admiral reported his communications officer. "It's from Outpost Helios 7. Authentication verified." Chen nodded, his weathered face betraying no emotion. "Display the message." The hologram shifted to show Captain Voss's face, calm despite the chaos evident in the background. As her message played, Chen's expression hardened. When it ended, the room fell silent. "Status of the other border outposts?" Chen asked quietly. "We've lost contact with 7 stations along the Vraxian border," his tactical officer replied. "Emergency beacons are active from 5 of them." Chen walked slowly to the central command platform, every eye in the room following him. For 30 years, he had overseen the development of Project Thunderbolt, a massive military buildup conducted in absolute secrecy. While humanity presented itself to the galaxy as a peaceful, somewhat technologically limited species, they had built the most advanced war fleet ever conceived, hidden beneath the ice of Europa, locked in the cores of hollowed-out asteroids, concealed within gas-giant atmospheres. 5,000 warships waited in darkness. Crews maintained in rotation or cryosleep, weapon systems that violated every treaty Earth had signed, technologies reverse-engineered from a dozen alien civilizations. All waiting for a signal, all hidden in perfect secrecy. Chen placed his palm on the scanner at his command station, then leaned forward for retinal verification. "Computer, verify voice pattern." Admiral Marcus Chen, authorization Sierra Tango 95 Thunderbolt Actual. Voice pattern verified. The system responded. Chen looked around at his staff, at the men and women who had dedicated their careers to a project they hoped would never be needed. "The Vraxians have violated the Treaty of Proxima Centauri," he said, his voice carrying across the silent command center. "They have attacked our outposts without provocation or warning. The time for diplomacy has ended." He turned to the activation console, where a physical key waited in its lock. Chen reached for it, hesitating for just an instant, aware of the historical significance of what he was about to do. "Initiate Protocol Thunderbolt," he ordered, turning the key. "All fleet commanders, this is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Activation sequence commences now." Throughout the solar system, Hidden bases stirred to life. In the asteroid belt, massive doors concealed for decades began to slide open. Beneath the clouds of Saturn and Jupiter, ships rose from their concealment. On Mars, underground silos prepared to launch strike craft. Crews who had trained endlessly in simulators rushed to their posts, while others were awakened from cryosleep, their neural implants immediately feeding them mission parameters. On Chen's command display, thousands of green dots appeared as ships reported their status. He had expected perhaps 80% readiness. They were achieving 97%. His executive officer approached, tablet in hand. "Sir, the Security Council is requesting an emergency session." Chen nodded. "Tell them I'll brief them in 1 hour. By then, the first wave will be deployed." "Target priorities, sir." Chen studied the tactical display showing the last known position of the Vraxian attack fleet. The Vraxians were aggressive, certainly, but not foolish. They wouldn't risk a war with humanity without a compelling reason. The border outposts had minimal strategic value, and the timing made little sense given the current political climate within the Vraxian Empire. She zoomed in on the sensor readings from Helios 7's final data burst, focusing on the planet the outpost orbited. The scans showed unusual energy signatures from beneath the planet's surface, signatures that hadn't been present in previous surveys. Lakshmi's eyes widened as the analysis completed. She immediately contacted Admiral Chen. "Sir," she said when he answered, "I think I know why they attacked Helios 7. The planet it orbits, it's rich in quantum decoherence crystals, the rarest material in known space." Chen's expression darkened. "The key component for true quantum computers and advanced FTL drives." "Yes, sir. And according to these readings, it's the largest deposit ever discovered." Lakshmi hesitated. "Admiral, if the Vraxians gain control of that resource, they could build weapons beyond anything we've prepared for." Chen finished her thought. "Update the battle plan. Securing Helios 7 is now our top priority." As the first wave of humanity's hidden fleet accelerated toward the jump points that would take them to the border, Admiral Chen knew the galaxy was about to change forever. The peaceful humans, long dismissed as a minor power, were about to show their true face, and the Vraxians would be the first to learn just how terrible a mistake they had made. Revelation. High Commander Krell of the Vraxian Empire stood on the command deck of the inexorable Dominion, his scaled skin reflecting the blue light of the tactical displays. 4 secondary eyes along his cranial ridge tracked different data feeds, while his primary eyes focused on the holographic representation of the human outposts his forces had just conquered. Transmission from all assault groups confirmed. High Commander reported his second, Sub-Commander Vex. "All human outposts have been neutralized." Resistance was minimal, exactly as predicted. Krell allowed his breathing slits to expand in satisfaction, the Vraxian equivalent of a smile. Casualties. Negligible, High Commander. 17 drones lost, 2 assault craft damage. The humans had only basic defensive capabilities. Krell moved to the central platform, his taloned feet clicking against the polished obsidian floor. Around him, Vraxian officers coordinated the occupation of the captured outposts, their movements efficient and precise. "Begin resource extraction immediately," Krell ordered. "The Science Directorate estimates we have 72 hours before the humans can organize a meaningful response." Vex bowed, his cranial frill lowering in deference. "Our intelligence suggests their response will be diplomatic first. Their military vessels are scattered across their territory. It would take them days to assemble a fleet capable of challenging even one of our battle groups." Krell gestured to the holographic display of Helios 7, the station that had resisted longest. "Did we recover any of their communication devices? I want to know what they managed to transmit before we silenced them." "The station's data core was heavily damaged," Vex replied. "Our technicians are attempting recovery now. We did capture some of their personnel, including several officers." "Good. Begin interrogation using standard protocols." As his officers moved to comply with his orders, Krell contemplated the ease of their victory. The humans had always been an enigma among the galactic powers, capable of impressive technological innovation, yet strangely limited in their military applications. Their ships were few and poorly armed compared to Vraxian standards. Their outposts, as today had proven, offered minimal resistance. Yet something about them had always made Krell uneasy. The Empire's synopsychologists claimed humans were fundamentally non-aggressive compared to Vraxians, their evolution as pursuit predators rather than ambush hunters, making them more inclined toward endurance than explosive violence. Krell had never fully accepted this assessment. In the limited conflicts between their species, humans had shown remarkable adaptability and resilience. But the Supreme Council had been convinced by the Science Directorate's discovery. The quantum decoherence crystals beneath the surface of Helios 7's planet were simply too valuable to ignore. High Commander, called the sensor officer, interruption Krell's thoughts. We're detecting unusual energy signatures at the edge of this system. Krell turned. Specify. Multiple jump point formations consistent with ship arrivals, larger than standard commercial patterns. Human vessels. Unknown, High Commander. Their signature profiles don't match any known human military craft in our database. Krell felt a prickle of unease along his spine. How many vessels? The sensor officer's 4 secondary eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion or surprise. Initial count indicates 187, High Commander. Configuration suggests military. Vex moved quickly to Krell's side. Impossible. Human military capacity in this sector is limited to perhaps 20 patrol vessels. Krell stared at the rapidly updating display as more ships continued to emerge from the jump points. Apparently our intelligence was flawed. Battle stations. All vessels to combat readiness. The alarm sounded throughout the flagship as crew rushed to their combat positions. On the tactical display, the newly arrived human fleet began to arrange itself into attack formations. Open a channel, Krell ordered. Let us see if these humans are sensible enough to negotiate. The communications officer worked at his console, then looked up with all 6 eyes widened in alarm. High Commander, they are not responding to standard hails. They have launched fighter craft and their weapon systems are powering up. Krell felt the first stirrings of genuine concern. The human ships were moving with precision and speed that belied everything known about their tactical capabilities. Launch our fighters. Bring all weapon systems online and... He never finished the order. The tactical display erupted with warnings as the human vessels opened fire simultaneously. The carefully coordinated barrage overwhelmed the shields of 2 Vraxian cruisers before they could even respond. Return fire. Krell roared as the deck beneath him shuddered from a direct hit. All ships, engage. The space around Helios 7 erupted in energy discharges as the 2 fleets engage. To Krell's mounting horror, the human weapons were far more advanced than anything his intelligence had suggested possible, penetrating Vraxian shields with ease and targeting critical systems with surgical precision. High Commander, Vex shouted over the noise of secondary explosions. 3 of our vessels have been disabled already. Their targeting systems are. They know our shield frequencies. Krell watched in disbelief as another Vraxian cruiser went dark, its engines disabled by a weapon he'd never seen before. The human ships moved in perfect coordination, as if they'd trained for years specifically to counter Vraxian tactics. Send an emergency transmission to High Command, he ordered. Request immediate reinforcements. All vessels, regroup at coordinates. A massive impact rocked the flagship, cutting power to half the command deck. When emergency systems came online, the tactical display showed an even more impossible sight. A second human fleet had arrived, larger than the first. This cannot be, Vex whispered. Where did they get these ships? How did they conceal such force? Krell had no answer. Everything he thought he knew about human military capability was proving catastrophically wrong. Commander Riza Kadam stood on the bridge of the TSS Artemis, watching as the Vraxian fleet scattered before the human assault. As the leader of the special operations team assigned to retake Helios 7, he had waited until Admiral Chen's main force had engaged the enemy before beginning his approach. "Status report," he ordered, his dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Vraxian forces are in disarray," reported his tactical officer. "Admiral Chen's fleet has disabled or destroyed 11 of their vessels. The remainder are attempting to regroup, but their formation is broken." Riza nodded. "Perfect. Initiate stealth approach. All hands prepare for boarding operations." Unlike the massive warships that formed the backbone of humanity's hidden fleet, the Artemis was designed for speed and stealth. Its experimental cloaking system, reverse-engineered from captured Vraxian technology, and significantly improved, rendered it virtually undetectable. As the Artemis slipped past the battle raging around them, Riza studied the scans of Helios 7. The station had taken heavy damage, but parts of it remained intact, including the central command module. "Life signs?" he asked. "Faint readings from the command center," came the response. "Approximately 12 human signatures, also detecting 34 Vraxian life forms throughout the station." Riza turned to his team, 20 of the most elite soldiers humanity had ever produced, enhanced with neural implants and wearing powered armor that amplified their strength and speed. They represented the pinnacle of human military technology, a secret even from most of Earth's own population. "Our priority is rescuing any survivors," he told them. "Secondary objective is recovering the station's quantum entanglement communicator. Tertiary is gathering intelligence on Vraxian intentions." The soldiers acknowledged with silent nods. They had trained together for years, preparing for a day they hoped would never come. The Artemis docked with Helios 7 using a magnetic clamp rather than a standard airlock, attaching to a section of hull away from Vraxian patrols. Riza's team cut through the station's exterior, their advanced equipment making short work of the reinforced metal. Once inside, they moved like shadows through the damaged corridors. The station's emergency lighting cast eerie red glows across the destruction, evidence of the Vraxian assault and the desperate defense mounted by Helios 7's crew. The team encountered their first Vraxian patrol near the central lift shaft. 4 aliens moved cautiously through the debris, their weapons raised. Riza signaled his team, and in perfect synchronization, 4 silenced shots dropped the Vraxians before they could raise an alarm. "Motion ahead," whispered Lieutenant Diaz through their secure comms. "Barricaded position, human life signs." Riza moved forward to see. Through the scope of his rifle, he could make out a makeshift barrier constructed from damaged equipment and station materials. Behind it, armed humans in Helios 7 uniforms maintained a defensive position. "This is Commander Riza Kadam, Thunderbolt Special Operations," he called out. "We're here to extract you." After a moment of silence, a woman's voice responded. "Authenticate. Sierra. Echo Victor Echo November." Authentication response. "Thunderbolt 9er actual." Reza replied, using the current day's code phrase. The barricade shifted, and a wounded officer emerged, Captain Ilara Voss, her uniform torn and bloodied, but her eyes sharp and alert. "Commander," she acknowledged, "your timing is impeccable." Reza helped her back behind their lines as his team moved to secure the survivors, 9 crew members, all injured to varying degrees. "The Vraxians have been interrogating us," Voss explained quickly. "They're specifically interested in our communication capabilities and what we transmitted before they took the station." Riza nodded. "The quantum communicator." "Destroyed," Voss replied. "I made sure of that myself." "But Commander," she paused, her expression grim, "they weren't just attacking us for territorial gain. They're after something on the planet below." "The quantum decoherence crystals," Riza confirmed. "We know. That's why Admiral Chen prioritized this sector for our counterattack." Voss's eyes widened slightly at the mention of Chen, a name known only to those privy to the Thunderbolt Protocol. "How many ships did we send?" she asked. Riza allowed himself a small smile. "All of them, Captain. The Vraxians thought they were attacking a weak opponent. They're learning how wrong they were. A series of explosions rocked the station, nearly throwing them off balance. "That's our cue," Reza said. "We need to move now. My team will escort your people back to our ship." As they prepared to evacuate, the station's remaining systems detected a new threat, a Vraxian boarding party approaching their position. "We'll hold them off," Reza decided. Lieutenant Diaz hit the captain and her crew to the extraction point. Voss shook her head. "I'm staying with you, Commander. I know this station better than anyone." Before Reza could argue, the first Vraxian soldiers appeared at the far end of the corridor. Unlike the patrol they had encountered earlier, these were elite troops in heavy armor, their weapons already firing. Reza and his team took cover, returning fire with precision. Their advanced weapons, particle rifles that could adjust frequency to penetrate Vraxian shields, gave them an advantage, but they were outnumbered. "We need to reach the secondary command center," Voss shouted over the firefight. "There's another way out from there." Reza signaled his team to provide covering fire as he and Voss moved deeper into the station. Behind them, the Special Forces soldiers engaged the Vraxians with disciplined bursts of fire, slowly falling back in a controlled retreat. The secondary command center was in better condition than Reza had expected. As Voss sealed the doors behind them, he scanned the room for threats. "The emergency escape shuttle is accessed through here," Voss explained, moving to a panel on the far wall. "It's designed to launch even if the station is severely damaged." As she worked to activate the launch sequence, Reza noticed something on one of the still-functioning monitors. Data from the planet below. The scan showed Vraxian mining equipment already being deployed. "They're moving fast," he observed. "They must really want those crystals." Voss looked up from the console. "It's worse than that, Commander. According to these readings, that brought a dimensional charge." Reza felt a chill run down his spine. Dimensional charges were among the most destructive weapons in the known galaxy, capable of creating a temporary rupture in spacetime. They were primarily used in extreme mining operations, but if detonated incorrectly, they could destabilize the entire crystal formation, he realized. Possibly the planet itself. Voss nodded grimly. Either they don't fully understand the properties of quantum decoherence crystals, or they don't care about the consequences. Reza finished. He immediately activated his secure channel to Admiral Chen, relaying the information. The response came back immediately. "Redirect all available forces to secure the planet's surface." "Launch sequence initiated," Voss announced as the wall panel slid open to reveal a small shuttle bay. 2 minutes until ready. Reza contacted his team, ordering them to fall back to their new extraction point. The sounds of combat grew closer. The Vraxians were pushing hard to reach them. The shuttle's engines hummed to life, just as the first explosions hit the sealed doors. Reza's team arrived moments later, several of them supporting wounded colleagues. "Everyone in now," Reza ordered as the doors began to buckle under the Vraxian assault. The shuttle was cramped with all of them aboard, but it would have to do. As the last soldier cleared the doorway, Voss slammed her palm on the launch control. The small craft shot from the station, just as the Vraxians breached the command center. Through the viewport, Reza could see the battle still raging around them. Human ships systematically dismantling the Vraxian fleet. "Artemis, this is Commander Kadam," he transmitted. "We have the survivors and are en route in a station escape shuttle. Request immediate pickup." As the shuttle maneuvered away from the station, a massive explosion erupted from the planet's surface, a blinding flash followed by a shockwave that rippled visibly through space. "The dimensional charge," Voss whispered. "They've detonated it." On the tactical display, Reza watched as Admiral Chen's flagship, the Invictus, descended toward the planet, leading a squadron of specialized containment vessels. If anyone could mitigate the damage from the dimensional charge, it would be Chen and his scientists. The Artemis appeared alongside their shuttle, extending a tractor beam to guide them into its bay. Once aboard, Riza received an urgent communication from Admiral Chen himself. "Commander, we've contained the worst of the dimensional rupture, but the Vraxian flagship is attempting to escape with crystal samples already mined. You're the closest vessel with pursuit capabilities." Riza acknowledged the order and rushed to the Artemis's bridge. The sleek ship broke away from Helios 7, its engines flaring as it accelerated after the Vraxian flagship, the inexorable Dominion. "They're attempting to reach the jump point," his navigation officer reported. "Estimated time to jump, 2 minutes." Riza studied the tactical display. "They're damaged. Target their propulsion systems. We need that ship intact." The Artemis closed rapidly on the fleeing Vraxian vessel, its advanced weapons locking onto the enemy's engines. Precision shots disabled the Dominion's main drive without destroying the ship itself. "They're dead in space," reported the tactical officer. "Their weapons are powering down." Riza opened a channel to the Vraxian ship. "Vraxian vessel, this is Commander Riza Kadam of the Earth Defense Force. Your position is compromised. Your fleet destroyed. Surrender immediately." After a long pause, a response came through. The face of High Commander Krell, his scales dulled with fatigue and his cranial frill lowered in what Riza recognized as the Vraxian expression of shock. "What are you?" Krell demanded, all 6 eyes fixed on Riza. "Where did these ships come from?" "Our intelligence said." "Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to believe," Reza interrupted. "For generations, humanity has hidden its true capabilities. Today, you learned why." Krell's breathing slits contracted, a sign of anger or fear. "This is not possible. No species could conceal such military might." "And yet here we are," Reza replied calmly. "Now about your surrender." 1 month later, Admiral Marcus Chen stood before the Earth Security Council in their chamber deep beneath the lunar surface. The room was packed, not just with council members, but with representatives from every human colony and settlement. "The Vraxian Empire has formally acknowledged their violation of the Treaty of Proxima Centauri," Chen reported. "They have withdrawn all forces from the disputed territories and agreed to pay reparations for the destruction caused to our outposts." Chancellor Isabel Reynaud, the head of the Security Council, leaned forward. "And what of their explanation for the attack? Do we believe their claim that they were acting on faulty intelligence?" Chen exchanged glances with Commander Sharma, his intelligence chief, before responding. "Partially. Intercepted communications confirmed that the Vraxian Science Directorate had detected the quantum decoherence crystal deposits and convinced their high command that securing them was worth the risk of conflict." He paused. "However, we also have evidence that certain factions within the Vraxian government were pushing for a more aggressive stance toward humanity for some time." "And now?" asked Councillor Zhang. "Now they know better," Chen replied simply. "The revelation of our true military capabilities has fundamentally altered the balance of power in the galaxy, not just with the Vraxians, but with all spacefaring species." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For generations, humanity had presented itself as a minor power, technologically impressive, but militarily limited. That carefully crafted illusion had been shattered in a single day. "What does this mean for our relationships with other species?" Reynaud asked finally. Commander Sharma stepped forward. "We're already seeing diplomatic recalibration across the board. The Ardanian Collective has requested renewed trade negotiations. The HFY Dominion has withdrawn its claims to 3 disputed systems, and the Galactic Council has invited Earth to assume a permanent seat." Chen allowed himself a small smile. "Put simply, Chancellor, humanity is no longer viewed as a secondary power to be manipulated or dismissed. We are now recognized as what we have always been, one of the most formidable forces in the galaxy." "And Captain Voss and her crew?" asked Councillor Martinez. "The ones who sent the distress signal that started all this." "Captain Voss has been promoted to Commodore and given command of our new border defense force," Chen replied. "Her actions allowed us to respond decisively before the Vraxians could establish a stronger foothold." As the council meeting continued, discussing the new galactic reality, Shen found his thoughts drifting to an ancient human saying, "Civis pacem, parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war." Humanity had prepared for generations, building in secret, hiding their true nature behind a mask of peaceful exploration. When the moment came, that preparation had saved them from potential subjugation and established a new order. The Vraxians had learned a harsh lesson, one that would echo across the stars for centuries to come. Behind humanity's diplomatic overtures and scientific curiosity lay a sleeping giant. And now, awakened by a single distress call, that giant was fully revealed to the galaxy. The most powerful fleet in known space no longer lurked in shadow. It patrolled openly, a silent reminder to any who might threaten human interests. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war.